So till now we have done some basic concepts of C#. We created a calculator application end to end, and I'm sure that all the students must be happy till now. But there's a big problem here. The problem is the user interface. Now if you look at our calculator program, right, it's very simple, right? And let's go and look at the calculator program which is there in your Windows operating system. Now you can see this user interface is very nice. It has buttons, the look and feel is very good, right? Well, this one is a black window, and it doesn't look like an end user application, but looks more of like a programmer application, right? So now we would like to go and develop this kind of interface which can really help you to develop business applications, because business applications will not like this kind of user interface, right? They want more better and user friendly interface. So how do we go and develop user interfaces which are like this, which you see on your screen? And that's by creating a Windows project. Till now what we have done is we have been creating console application projects, and console applications they will have user interfaces which is like this. There are no buttons, there are no text boxes, it's a simple interface. So how do we go and create a Windows application and make our user interface much better? So in this lab what we will do is we'll see that how we can create Windows application using C#. So again, as I said, that for every kind of user interface you have different projects. For example, for console application you have a project which we were selecting till now, that is console application. Now because we want to create Windows form, so we have to select the Windows form application. You can see over here. So let's select this Windows form application here, and let me give a name here saying my first Windows application. Now the time you open the Windows project or to create a Windows project, you can see that there is a nice designer pane here, and on this designer pane you can go and drag and drop a text box, you can drag and drop a button, a drop down box, or whatever you wish. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll first go and run this program. So let me just go and click on F5 here. So we have not coded anything, we have just created the project and we are running it. So you can see that a empty Windows form running here. Now this is called as a Windows form. A form means basically what you call a area of a window. Okay, so you can see there's an empty Windows form running here, and already there are a lot of ready-made functionality. For example, you can see a maximize button all over here. You can see that there is a minimize button here. You can see that there are what you call some other menus over here like move and size and etc. Okay, so you are now popped up with the Windows form which has some basic functionality like resize and maximize and minimize and etc. Now on this Windows form you would like to go and put a let's say a text box or a button, right? So let me close this form here first. Now in order to go and drop some controls on this, right, click on view and click on toolbox. Now the time you click on toolbox, you can see at my right hand side there are loads and loads of controls. I mean, so you imagine and you can see those controls over here, right? But for now let's not get confused. Let's go and find our button control. We can see over here, and let's select it and drag it on the form. And also let's go and find our text box control somewhere it should be. So let me just go and find my text box control, PQRST, that's a text box control. So let's go and drag this text box control also on the form, right? So we have used the button control as well as the text box control on the form, and you can see that basically both of them are now nicely placed on the form. Okay, let me also just go and resize this form here so that it looks better. Let me save this and let me run it. So there's our Windows form running, you can see. And you can see that basically I can go and type on the text box, I can click on the button. Currently nothing will happen because we have not written any logic as such. I can go and maximize it, I can make it normal, I can close it, etc. Okay, but you can see that there are some text over here which is not really representing what this application will do. For example, the form 1, button 1. So first thing, let's do the first thing first. Let's go and change this form here saying a hello world application, and on this button we would like to put a text here saying click me. Okay, so let me close this and let's go and change two text here first. Change the form name to something like hello application, okay, and change the button one to something like click. Okay, so I've closed it. Now in order to go and change this text, like the form 1 and button 1, every object or every control what you see right over here, like the text box control, the button control, even the form is called as a control. Okay, each one of these controls have properties which will help you to go and change text, change colors and those things. Okay, so for example, now let's say that we want to first go and change this button 1 name. So select the button 1 object first, or the button 1 control, and once you've selected it, you can see that it actually marks this as a white section, a boundary with a white section, small dots and white section. Okay, so that says that this control is selected. Now right click on this control and click on properties, and now there is one property here called as text. Now you can see there are a lot of other properties like colors and etc., forecolor and background color, but currently we'll not go over there. We'll just go and change this text property here saying click me. Now the time I type here click me, you can see that this button text has changed to click me, right? In the same way, I would like to go and change this form 1 to something, right? So let's go and select form 1. Now again, as I said that how will you know the control is selected? By this white dots at the boundary. Okay, so you can see now the form 1 is selected, and you can also see on the property window the form 1 here. So this basically signifies that your form 1 is selected. Okay, now again there's a text property here on this control, so I'll just go and say here hello world application. Okay, right. So now our user interface is big, is looking a bit reasonable here. So now if I do a control F5, so I can see that my hello world application and also the click me button. So all is good, but still again there is no logic written at this moment, and that's why nothing is happening. So let's go and write a logic where by clicking on this button it will actually go and display me whatever is typed in this text box. So when I click on this button, it will say me hello and whatever is typed in this text box. Okay, so let me go and close this application, and let's go to form 1. Now before even I go and start writing code, right, first let's talk about a very, very important property called as the name. Now there are two things. One is the visual text which you see. For example, now this is a button, right? So the visual text is click me. Now that is not the name of the control. So the name of the control actually internally is button 1. In the same way, if I click on text box, right, you can see that the name of the control is text box 1. If I click on the form, then the name of the control is form 1. So one is that there is a text property. So the text property is this one, like if you see the form, right, the text property is hello world, but the name of the form is form 1. Okay, now why I'm talking about these two properties here? The text is a visual property. In other words, it's only for the display thing which the end user sees, while the name is something which in your code you're going to use it. So for example, in your programming code, when you want to go and refer this control form, right, you're going to use this name form 1. For example, when you're going to go and refer this button in your code behind, or in the code which we're going to write later, you're going to use the name button 1. In the same way, for text box, you're going to use text box 1. So now what we want is, we want to go and refer this text box value what is typed, right, and we want to display it in a simple message box saying hello and the text box data, right? So let me go and close this property window here, and now this thing, when will this thing happen? This will when will that message box pop up? The message box will pop up when somebody clicks on the button, right? So in other words, on the button click, you want to write some code. So in order to go and what you call open up the coding area, where the button click is, select that button and double click on it. Now the time you double click on it, right, it pops up you a nice C# code here. Now don't get confused, because I know that you are freshers and I'm sure that you must be thinking that what has happened suddenly, but do not get confused. Just watch what I'm doing currently. Just try to complete this practical. Okay, don't get into other things what you see like namespace and classes, etc. We're going to talk that later on. Okay, so you are on the designer, select that object and double click on it. The time you double click on it, you can see that whatever is the name of your control, for example, button 1 is my control, right? It has said that whenever somebody clicks on the button, I'm going to go and execute this code what you write here. Fine. So this area or this section of the code will be executed when somebody clicks on the button. So let's put some code here and say that okay, message box, because we want to display the data of the text box in a message box. So we're going to say message box dot show hello and whatever is typed on the text box. Now remember that our text box name is text box 1. So you can see that this is text box 1. So whatever is typed in the text area of the text box. So you can see now I'm trying to refer the property also, right? Close this, right? So what I'm saying is that basically whatever is typed in text box 1, right, take this data and append it with this string called as hello. So now what will happen is when somebody clicks on this button, it will take the data what is typed in the text box and display hello and the data typed on the text box, right? So let me just go and build it to see that we don't have any errors. We don't have, and let me do a control F5 here. So there's my application running. So let's say that I type here Shiv, and now if I click on Shiv, you can see that yes, there is hello Shiv. If I type here Raju, and if I click me, you can see hello Raju, right? This message box is displayed because of this code, message box.show, right? Right. So we saw that, how easily we have created buttons, text boxes, how easily we are able to manipulate properties, etc. So I hope that you enjoyed this lab. In this lab, what we did is basically we tried to understand how we can create a simple Windows form application, and we try to drag and drop some controls and write some logic. So I hope that you enjoyed this lab. In the next lab, we'll go more details into Windows form, and we'll try to create some kind of a simple real-time form, and we'll try to put some validation logic. Thank you very much. Now whatever video you have seen, right, is just a glimpse of what we have done. So in case you are interested in our video package, you can go to our site, that is www.questpon.com. You can call on this number and you can ask the complete DVD package what we have. So in this DVD package, what we have done is basically we have covered almost everything what a .NET developer wants. So right from basics of ASP.NET, object programming, SQL Server, to new technologies like WCF, Silverlight, Link, Azure, Entity Framework. We also have UML, architecture, estimation, project management. There is a complete invoicing project end-to-end which is covered, so that you can get a better feel of how to actually create projects in a systematic manner. We have covered server products, both for SharePoint 2007 as well as for 2010. We have a lot of best practices video on SQL Server, etc. So this complete package, you can get from www.questpon.com if you're interested, and you can call on this number and you can ask for the rates. It's a very decent rate what we have. In the same way, as compared to the videos, we also have one more product with us, that is our interview question books. So we have different kinds of interview question books, right from .NET interview questions to SQL Server interview questions, SharePoint interview questions, BizTalk interview questions, etc. So in case you are interested in the books part, you can call on these numbers as per your location. So you can see these numbers on the board at this moment. So I hope that you keep enjoying the videos, you keep seeing our site, and I hope that you gain more knowledge. Thank you very much.